paint water.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
I'm good. Oh, is that me on the second one?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there's Alyssa.
Oh,
Hi.
hello.
Nice
It
to
says
see you.
Alyssa, it says my name, and so I was super confused about what was going on. You must have joined from the same I was like, wait, that's me.
Wait, how did I do this?
You're magical in two places at once.
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you for volunteering, and it's nice to finally meet you, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
emails back and forth, so this is great.
Yeah,
When we first started talking, it seemed like we were never going to get here, like it was so far away, and now it just time went really fast.
the summer went really fast. The summer went like ridiculously fast.
Like this, and like with no spaces in between, it just went, June, July, August, boom, and here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. We started digging a hole in our backyard like in I don't know, June, early June, like thinking we were gonna make a patio, and it was our summer project. So now we're like having to recalculate. We're like, maybe it's an ice rink.
Oh my God.
We never got there.
Life happens. It totally happens.
Yeah.
So while I'm thinking of it, let me make you co-host. Do you both need to be co-host, or?
If that's possible, I think it would be good to be able to.
Okay.
Both of us have the extra.
Sure thing. Okay, so the tech is working. Do you want to try sharing your camera or your screen?
Or actually, so let me see if we can share that. Okay, so I assume you guys can see this now, right?
Yes.
Yep. Presentation. You can still see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, and then the question is, can you hear the music when I play it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it loud?
No, it's not too loud. The only thing about the music, is it copyrighted? Is it your own?
It's not my own, no.
Okay, because I found out the hard way the first time I tried to post one of our videos on YouTube, is that if the music is not ours, we can't post the video because the music is copyrighted. You have to get permission, blah, 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 blah. So you can find royalty-free music online. But I don't know if we have enough time to do that right now.
And so the issue is just because it's going on YouTube that
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can just have people play their own music during work time.
What?
I said that we can just have people play their own music during work time.
Yeah. It's such a frustrating thing because I often want to put on music in the background, and we do post these videos, they're posted for anybody who missed them. We don't charge, so they're free. So I can't pay for music, and it's just like, it's one of those things, but we do without, because this is it's an important thing that we do to provide these things for teachers and anybody that needs them. So
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just make do. But yeah, good. I guess good that I asked about that.
yes, very good.
Hopefully we do have some video stuff though, so hopefully the sound will still go on for the videos.
Okay.
Alyssa, I see that you're on the Notion page. Are you okay with just whoever is like when there's like links to share, whoever's talking doesn't need to worry about it and the other person can just post the links in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
Yeah. That should be good because it's really just, I mean, we don't have too many links.
No, I think the link
Let me
Are you
make sure.
going to put the link to their free subscription in the chat at the end, or do you want me to email to the people who participate?
we'll put it in the end. But if you want to email it out as well, that would probably be great. I mean, I think that it's fine to have it coming from multiple sources. So
Okay, I just don't want to give it to anybody that wasn't actually, I don't want to give your, subscription away to a million people. Not that we have a million people, but
how many people do we expect?
well, yesterday it was a very small group. I had about 19 pre-registered. Anything could happen. We could have 5, we could have 30. I sent out reminders and people tell their friends and so on and so on. And sometimes the week is a bad week with school and nobody wants to deal with any more online stuff. And sometimes people really just want to pop in because of the community. And you know what? It's a crapshoot from one week to the next. So I will keep my fingers crossed and I'll try to keep track of who is popping in. And if you want to make a point of saying those of you who stay to the end will be able to click on the link and get this free subscription, or however you want to say it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can say that. We're not overly concerned with, restricting access to that. So it's fine.
Okay.
However it goes out. Like even on our website, we have like a lot of different ways that people can access it. We have like, if they're not reimbursed through their school, they automatically get a discount and stuff like that. So we have a commitment to access already on our website. So I'm just saying like, we don't need to be overly controlling about who gets the link to the free subscription. It's fine. Yeah. I was going to say though, Alyssa, we do have a break. There's one where we weren't sure if we're going to use a breakout group or not, just in the first part. It sounds like if it is going to be 19 people, that it would probably be better to do quick breakout groups for that.
Okay.
I know it might be like half of that. I know that it very much varies in terms of who signs up and who actually shows up. We've done enough of these to see that happen. But even if we have 10 people, I think we should probably still do breakout groups with maybe like 4 or so.
Okay. Because I'm not too fluent with breakout groups. Do you know how to do all that stuff?
Should be able to. You have that subscription on here, right? I think it's
yeah, I see it at the bottom, breakout rooms.
For some reason, when I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the bottom. I didn't think that was the case, but it is today.
Really?
So,
even if you click on click on the screen, it doesn't pop up or you're on a Mac. I don't know Macs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just showing my screen. But maybe Alyssa, since you can see it, would you be able to do that?
I can do that when we get to that step.
Okay, cool.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm so technically, like this was amazing that I was able to get this going when I did.
Yeah. Well, I was actually impressed with your Zoom sign up because I've never done that before through Zoom. We've always used like Eventbrite or something like that. So I was like, well, this was kind of smooth and nice.
I kind of had to learn that the hard way. When you're forced to learn something on the fly, you got to do it. And then it has worked out really well. So that was a good thing. Yeah. All right. Usually I start at about 10 after to give people, because people kind of tend to dribble in.
Yeah.
Do you have, is your timing like really tight in terms of all of your
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If we played music at the beginning while people were coming in, do you start recording immediately or do you wait until everyone gets here and then ask permission?
Everybody who comes in already knows that I record, and because I have forgotten to press record, I have set it to record as soon as I open the meeting.
Okay. The only reason I asked was because this is kind of our built-in like dribble in sort of thing. And so if we just played music and like
Oh.
kept ourselves on mute while people came in, they could respond in the chat, but it might be a little awkward if there's no music going. But
We could hum.
I will give that job to you.
Or whistle.
Yeah, why don't we I think we can just put ourselves on mute and just put it in the chat that we'll be starting in a couple minutes if they want to look at this and answer the prompt. I think that's fine. And if you want to hum, that's good too.
Okay. I don't want to hum. I don't want that. No. Okay, so then I will just let people in and they should just keep on coming. I don't know why my window, every time I hit my waiting room, it takes over my whole screen. Oh, there it goes. And now I don't know how to get it to like tuck into my main screen. See, this is like, some days I'm spot on and everything I touch just does what I want it to do. And other days it's like, I forgot where all the buttons go and how they work and all that stuff. But all right, so I'm going to start admitting people. And so we have 3 people popping in so far, and it's 7:02. And I'm going to do side-by-side gallery. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome.
We're going to start in just a few minutes. If you guys just want to check the screen out, set your name, pronouns, put your video on if you can, and go ahead and say hello in the chat. We have a prompt for you to let us know while we're waiting.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Sylvia. Hello, Brandy. And hello, Kelly. It's just so quiet. We wanted to play music, but YouTube has problems with music if it's not, royalty free, and then I can't post, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So if anybody wants to volunteer to sing to us while we're waiting.
Who do you like?
Or whistle, or I don't know. Hi, Kelly. Okay, gotcha. Well, it'll be recorded and it'll be posted by the weekend, as always. Thank you for joining us so quickly. Or for briefly, anyway. Oh, you're on Central Time too. Okay.
Me too.
That makes me have to do math in my head, and that hurts, especially so close to Friday. And Risa is joining us. Hi, Brandy. All the way north. Wow. My boyfriend's from Michigan, actually. Originally from Kalamazoo. I've never been to Michigan. I'm going to start whistling. It's nothing in particular, so I won't be penalized for not copyright infringing stuff. Oh, it's a quiet night tonight. It'll be nice and intimate. It was a very loud day in school. My last class of the day kind of blows up my classroom and my brain. Yes.
I'm not seeing anyone put in the name of someone they admire and why, though. And you guys have all this time to think about it.
Oh, we're like the kids. We don't read past the first line. It's a horrible thing, but I get on them all the time about reading to the end of the instructions and someone I admire. Hi, Risa. Welcome.
Oh, my Zoom is being funky again, so I may be in and out.
That's okay. Glad
Kelly,
to see you.
I was just gonna say, Kelly said that her dad, because he's a MacGyver type, he can make or fix anything. And I have to say, my dad too. Like, I grew up thinking he could do like anything and make anything. And I've passed it on to my daughter now. So she's 5, and the other day she came out with, she had drawn a blueprint for a 9-tier bunk bed that she wants my dad to build her.
Wow.
Specifically. Yeah. So this was all
Wow.
based on, she had read the warning label on her bunk bed and had like come out with lots of questions about that. So we had like a long talk about legalities and the court system. And so then she took that and as inspiration.
There we go. I did my homework. Aw.
I hope my kids are still this fond of me as you guys are of your parents. We have a ways to go.
Mine just moved out. He's 27 and literally moved out last month, and he's living with his girlfriend, and I'm empty nesting, but I'm so proud. I really am. I miss my kiddo.
Yeah. It is 7:10. Do you think we should get started?
Yeah, I
Yep.
think we should do it. Let's go for it. If people come in, I'll just let them in and don't even think about it. Just
All right.
do your thing. Welcome to this Thursday evening's Art Teachers Art Club, and welcome to Tempest and Alyssa from Doodle Academy.
Hi. So I am Tempest from Doodles Academy. And Doodles Academy is a nonprofit. We'll talk about it a little bit on the next slide, but I'm the founder. I'm an art educator. I taught for years as a K-5 art educator in Brooklyn. I also did a lot of work as a teaching artist. So in a wide variety of scenarios also in Brooklyn and New York. And I am now the lead curriculum designer for Doodles Academy. And this is my colleague, Alyssa, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alyssa Marchand. I am an art teacher in Rochester, New York, and I currently teach kindergarten through 5th grade. And I have been doing volunteer work with Doodles Academy and serve on their Educator Leadership Council. I've been helping a lot more on the curriculum end of things. And for a couple of people here, I might recognize my name a little bit too, because I do work with NYSADA, with the New York State Art Teachers Association as well. So,
Aha. I knew the name looked familiar.
yes. I sit on the board of NYSADA for Region 2, and then I'm the design and layout editor for the NYSADA News. So,
Okay.
excited to be here tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So as we mentioned, Doodles Academy, I'm just going to go through this very quickly. And if you're interested, we have a whole website with lots and lots and lots of information for you. But we are a nonprofit, as I mentioned, and our tagline is using curriculum to create change. So all of the curriculum that we create is either very low cost or free for teachers to use. We make sure that it's responsive. So it's always choice-based and student-centered, allowing students the opportunity to tell stories and to connect to things in very personally authentic ways. We make projects that are integrated. So resources are offered to connect art to literacy, history, social studies content, as well as connecting to contemporary as well as classic artworks. And also accessible, like I mentioned. It always includes extensive but flexible lesson plans to support educators, and they're available virtually for free or at very low cost on our website, doodlesacademy.org. And so you're welcome to go check it out. So what we're going to do today is we're doing a little bit of a modified version of one of our projects, the superhero project. We're just going to walk you through some of the different ways that we would approach this project. So we're using resources from our website, but we've kind of, as it said, flexible. We've kind of reformatted them for this this event. So you'll see a lot of kind of like slicing and dicing here. Let's see. I guess I should have waited till I was on the agenda to say this, but the agenda page, we're going to do a quick connect as humans. So you guys will be expected to talk with us here. And then we're going to do some art time where we have an image discussion. We're going to create a backstory and draw a superhero. We'll have a sharing and discussion, and then we're going to do a group brainstorm at the end. And we do have some free resources at the end. So make sure you stick around if you can, and we'll give you a link to some things. If for some reason you have to leave early, just go ahead and connect with Steph and she can get you all of the resources that we're presenting tonight. Alyssa, do you have anything else you want to add, or does anyone have any questions they want to jump in and ask before we launch into it? Okay.
It'll be a fun night.
Okay. So the first thing is what we at Doodles like to do is connect as humans. So it's like, it's very isolating sometimes having these Zoom meetings. And so this is just a way for us to think and to talk with each other and to get to know each other a little bit more. And so the question I would like you to reflect on is, what is your real life superpower? I'm going to give you just a few minutes. We're not going to play music because we can't, but you can just sit with your silence here for a moment and think about it. And then we're going to start calling on people to let us know what your real life superpower is. And we will, we'll start you off. Just take about 30 seconds or so to think about it.
I have so many, I can't decide.
Maybe it's all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always have a hard time I with this one too, but I think my real life superpower, like to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, is it's actually my ability to take care of my kids, to design curriculum, to teach, to run my household, to also find some time to make my art, to, you know, to do all of that, to live life, but still, you know, like manage the chaos of life, I think is my real life superpower. But that's going crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Alyssa, I'm going to pass it to you.
Yes. So I would say my real life superpower is to streamline it into one thing, would be packing a bag for the day. Like, no matter if we're going on vacation or just trying to make it through work and school, I usually pack everyone's bags in the morning, including my husband's sometimes. So just getting everything ready and making sure we're going to make it through our day or our vacation or whatever we are doing.
That's so funny. That reminds me of this movie with Michelle Pfeiffer and George Clooney, where she had this bag, and everywhere they went, no matter what was going on, she pulled the exact perfect thing out of her bag that was needed for that exact situation. And he's like, what is that? Some kind of magic wizard bag. And it was really funny because some people just are like that. They always have everything for any situation. It's amazing.
It's true. In terms of the bag, I was actually thinking I probably have like the opposite, where I don't, like I never have in my bag.
Never have the one thing you need.
Oh, wow. I guess I'll jump in. My superpower tends to be that I am very intuitive and very good at reading people, reading the room, and determining who needs a little special attention or who needs to be, you know, spoken to on the side, or, you know, whether it's a classroom or my friends or my family. I can kind of pick up on the vibes in the universe that need to be addressed. So that's my thing. Hi, Jen. Welcome.
I'll jump in, I guess. Mine, thinking more toward teaching, I guess it would be just the idea that I can make modifications. So like, even if it's not for my class, if it's math or science or whatever else, if somebody gives me the problem they're having with a kid, I can immediately see what needs to be modified, and I can give them a bunch of suggestions on how to modify something so that the kid is able to understand what they're trying to get across.
That's awesome.
Okay, I can talk if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, jump in.
Okay, I think I don't think of it as a superpower. I think of it as a gift. That I have an ability to make a quick and easy rapport with most people, and in particular those with disabilities. I do a lot of teaching with kids of all ages, 2 to adult, who have disabilities, and it seems especially I connect easily with autistic people. I don't know. Like I said, I think that's to me, that's more of a gift than a superpower. And I get a lot more out of it, I think, than they do sometimes. So I love it. That's it. I'm done.
I guess I'll go. I think I would say my superpower is more like an anti-hero kind of thing, whereas I think I'm really stubborn, but because I'm really stubborn, I persist and I'll really stick with things even. So that's kind of, you know, the good, the bad.
Great.
I can go. I think that my superpower is my ability to plan things. And it's not like only limited to my classroom, but even just in general life. Like I'm the person that loves to plan our family vacations and, you know, sort of keep the schedule and know what's going to be happening for dinner for the week. And so I think I just have the ability to plan things well.
Can you help me plan dinner for the rest of the week? Oh. All right.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move on. Thank you for that. And I'm going to pass it to Alyssa here.
Yes. So one of the parts of the Doodles curriculum that I love and when I use it in my classroom is they always do a fantastic job of including art at the beginning and getting the students discussing. And it's always a really, really excellent range of art and artists. So we're going to do the same thing. We are going to look at this work of art, the Arachne by Paolo. I always struggle with his last name, but Veronese. I'll give you a little history about it in a moment, but before we kind of go there, I just want to hear your thoughts. What do you see? What's going on in this picture? Feel free to just shout out things.
Well, Arachne means spider, and she's looking at a spider web.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like she's weaving it because it feels like this. I see the strings of the web on her finger on the hand that's up.
Yeah, at first glance, it looks like she's examining it, but then it almost looks like one of those like ropes that you used to play with your friends where you can crisscross it and make all the different designs.
I was thinking of that too. I can't remember what it's called.
Cat's cradle.
Cat's
cradle.
cradle. There you go. Yeah.
Nice. Is there anything more you want to add to?
Or she cast a spell and made a spider web with her magic wand.
I was just thinking it has kind of that vibe of, I don't know, like magic and almost slightly evil. If you look like on the fireplace, there's almost like a demon looking head. And then if you look on the, I assume, chair or whatever that's next to her, there's almost looks like there's two horns sticking up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So let me give you a quick blurb about the background and see if that changes your thoughts on this at all. So this painting, actually, in Greco-Roman mythology, Arachne was a mortal woman and a talented weaver who challenged Athena, a goddess of wisdom and crafts, and was transformed into a spider. And so spiders are called arachnids after Arachne.
Oh.
Now that you know a little bit more about it, I think we kind of described it pretty well, but does that change your ideas, or what do you notice about it now that you have a little history?
And I guess I already kind of knew part of the Greek part, but there's like the columns in the background and stuff too, which are fairly typically Greek. So that kind of puts that in that place. And I mean, you already have the time period listed at the bottom, but just the clothing and everything kind of sets that time period as well.
Yeah, I definitely think we did a great job noticing the spider web and discussing her role with that. So next we're going to look at a more modern version. So this is Arachne, a character in the Marvel universe. So in the Marvel universe, Julia Carpenter has super spider powers and becomes Arachne, which was named after the woman in Greek mythology. What do you think of this artwork? And what do you notice?
She's much more aggressive looking than the other painting.
She's so-
And the webs look more lightningy than spider webby.
Yep, that's what I was just about to say. She still looks like she's spinning a web, but they almost, yeah, they look more like fiery lightning webs.
Yeah.
If you look at her hands, it looks like she's got 8 fingers, like eight legs for a spider. And the cracks in the window match her lightning stuff down below.
Yeah.
And building on that, almost like those could almost be eyes, the whatever her cuffs are that are silver that are coming from.
Mhm.
She almost looks like she's portrayed slightly villainous because of the fact that she's like smashing the car and the window, and then you can see the cops are heading toward her in the background as well. So she looks more villainous.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that guy down below? It's good.
He has wings on his head.
Yeah, well, Mercury had wings, but he doesn't look like Mercury.
And he's scaly.
Haley, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not actually sure who it is.
Mm.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like Aquaman at first, but I don't think he had the wing thing on the head, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And how does she not get her hair stuck in place?
Her shoulders look like ears here.
Mhm.
Or
That's a good
bug
question.
eyes, kind of bug eyes sticking out, you know, like,
Oh, yeah, that too.
yeah.
7, 8. Well, actually, now that I'm counting it, I was saying how her hands look like eyes and her shoulders. Don't spiders have 8 eyes? So if you look at the silver spots, it looks like there's 2 on her eye sockets, then 2 on her shoulders.
Oh,
2 on
sure.
her, 2 on her hands might come out to 8 eyes, right?
How do you know they have 8 eyes? That's
Because one of
weird.
my kids told me that. One of my students, I was like, is that really true? And I had to like go find it, you know.
She's just really smart.
You know, the kids who like love bugs who tell you these factoids, I'm like, oh, I better go find out if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's a fun fact.
Yes.
All right, that's a really good notice. So now that we've looked at a couple inspirational images, what you are going to do is we are going to take a few minutes and you are going to create a little backstory for your superhero. So you're going to think about your alter ego and think about the images that we just saw, the superhero power that you have been thinking about at the beginning, and you are going to create a backstory for your superhero. And you can do this in a couple of ways. You can write it out physically. If you want to write out words, you can draw notes, images for yourself, but there's a couple of questions up here we want you to use to help guide yourself. So what is your power? And you can read the smaller parts underneath, but what is your power? How did you get your power? So thinking about, you know, how Arachne got her power by challenging Athena, you know, where does yours come from? Are there important things that would influence how you got it? Things like that, anything from your culture, celebrations. And then who or what do you protect with this power? Because most superheroes have kind of something that they're protecting and use that power for. So we're going to take a few minutes here and really start to think about your backstory. Cue the music in your head.
Yes. Or start humming, whatever you need.
Sorry.
All right. I was just going to chime in and say probably about 5 minutes here. So we'll let you know when we come back, but feel free to put your video off if that makes you feel more comfortable, or keep it on. But we'll stay by your screen so you can hear is my end story here. So you know when
Will
we
you,
start
by
again.
any chance, can you share this presentation? By
Of
any
course.
chance with us? Great.
Yeah,
That
of
would be
course.
awesome. Okay.
All right, 5 minutes and we'll come back, and then we have kind of a step 2. So we're working in steps tonight.
Thanks, Kelly. See you next week.
Not to scare anyone, but just about another minute. So I'm gonna give you warning, and just so you know, you're not gonna have to share these at all. So it can be as messy as you would like for your own thoughts, your own brainstorm. All right, so we're going to start moving in to the next step, and I don't want to forward the slide because it's going to autoplay a video as soon as I do. So just so you guys know, we're moving into actually starting to craft and draw our superhero, and it's going to be done in a couple of different parts. So the first step is going to be in the next slide that I show. So if you're still working, that's fine, but just make sure that you are paying enough attention so that you get the gist of the video that I'm about to turn to.
Today we're going to start making our superheroes. We're going to make them in the style of the covers of old comic book magazines. Notice in the books how the character is always doing something. They're flying or fighting or running. Also notice how large the figure is on the page. Your eye goes straight to the character. Today we're going to start planning out our cover, and we're going to do that by making the silhouette of our superhero. A silhouette just means it's the outline of our superhero without any of the details inside. So first you're going to get this packet that has a whole bunch of different superhero body parts on it. You're going to choose an arm pose and a leg pose, and you're going to put them together to create your own unique superhero. Now think back to those superhero covers that we saw, and we noticed that the superheroes were really large and would take up most of the cover. Your superhero should be large too. So you want to kind of envision where your arms and legs are going to go, and maybe even make some really light circles, kind of mapping out where on the paper the arms and the legs and the superhero's body is going to fit, to make sure that it's nice and large. Once you have that, you can start drawing your superhero.
So like I mentioned, we're kind of slicing and dicing this lesson. So in the actual video, it goes on a little bit to give more explicit instructions to the kids. But, oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm sorry. Here we go. Alyssa just posted it. She posted the file to the superhero body parts in the chat box there that you can grab if you'd like. Totally optional if you would prefer to just wing it. Feel free to just wing it. That is okay. That's just a resource for you if you would like it. But we'll go until about 7:45 Eastern time. So about, 8 minutes or so, 7 or 8 minutes, where you can finish your backstory and get started mapping out your superhero. Don't do the details quite yet. You just want to figure out that pose. You all noticed in the picture that Alyssa showed you that the superhero was very almost aggressively on the paper. And so think about that as you're making this pose. You want them to be big. You want them to take up space on your paper. You may hum and work.
This is actually a great idea to do these handouts. Yes, Brandy, I can email it to you, no problem. Can you just, here, I'll put my email in the chat. So if you guys want the resources emailed to you, just email me the request, okay?
She might want it right now for the drawing project.
She's afraid to click it and disappear from Zoom.
So
Yeah.
she might want it right now rather than after the fact.
If you email me your request, I'll email it right back to you because I downloaded it so I can just attach it.
Perfect.
To the email. Yeah.
Perfect.
When I did this years ago, I actually had to do the whole figure drawing, gesture drawing lessons, and it was like torture.
Well, we have a variation for younger kids. This is our older kids variation. And with the younger kids, we have them, actually get with a partner and close one eye and draw around their partner as their partner is making a pose. So
Oh,
they start
cool.
understanding the different shapes that make up a body, but that's what they draw then are the different shapes. Whereas this is the version for the more advanced students. And the video goes on to show them how to isolate the different lines so that they can start to see how the lines are created without getting overwhelmed.
Right. You could also have them take like printouts of gestures that you find on the internet and have them trace the lines of the figure to help them see the gesture.
Yeah.
I did that as well.
Yeah, the reason that we did the body parts all separately is because we really still wanted to bring in that element of choice. I just wanted to give them the tools to
Right.
create something that they were proud of, but they're completely making up their own superhero, just kind of choosing from these available resources. And in fact, some kids, as we all know, just go and draw their own anyway.
Yeah,
Which is totally fine.
totally. I prefer that they do that.
Yeah.
But so a lot of them are just scared to even to try. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna attach and go to downloads and send. Okay, Brandy, I just sent it to you. Let me know if you got it. Okay, good. Good. Okay. It's hard coming up with a pose.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next step. If you're still working, it's totally okay. So don't panic. You don't even really have to look up. You just have to make sure that you can hear what's going on here. We're going to move on to the next step, which is adding details. Thought we were. Oh no, is my video broken? Okay, you guys are off the hook for a second while I figure out this text stuff. You guys can keep working on your silhouettes and I'll be right back. So I'm going to share it directly from our Vimeo account. Alyssa, do you happen to remember where we cut it off? Is it like right around here, something like that? All right, anyway, I'll play it and maybe you guys will see more than we intended.
Even if you have never heard of a superhero, if you have no idea what their name is, who they fight, what they care about, you can figure out a lot by looking at the clues that the artist has included in the superhero's costume. Take this superhero. Even without knowing his name or what comic book series he was a part of, you can tell he has something to do with an animal. He has those long claws, he has the hairy arms, he has the pointed ears. So it shouldn't surprise you at all to find out that his name is Wolverine. So let's revisit some of those details and see if we can get some more information from them. So what about those claws? What clues do the claws give us? They're long, they're metal, they look really strong, almost indestructible looking. What about the ears? What clues do those give us? They're tall, they're pointed, they look like they could pick up some sound that other people might not be able to hear. How about his body, his pose, how he looks? What clues do those give us? He's very muscular, he's very hairy, it looks like he is running towards something, he's a man of action. All of these things, even if we don't know exactly what the superhero does or who he fights or what his name is, helps give us the impression, helps to give us an idea of what the superhero is like. So your task today is to take that.
I'll pause there and then I'm actually going to re-bring up my presentation here and pass it to Alyssa. Oh, now it's playing, of course. Okay, to you, Alyssa.
Thank you. All right, so as you take your silhouette and start to add more details to it, we wanted to give you one more work of art to look at to give you a little bit more inspiration. So this is The Bat by Jeffrey Verge. Well, actually, before I tell you a little bit about him, what do you notice about this work of art?
It's very stylized.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a graphic design.
It also reminds me of like indigenous art.
Good. Yeah, perfect. So he is Native American and takes popular superheroes and translates them through his Native American background and uses traditional symbols and patterns throughout his work. So as you're adding details to your superhero, try to think about a few things. You know, what do you need to add to them to help just visually describe their superpower? Is there anything about your backstory that you want to include? Any symbols, any type of connections that you want to add in? And think about ways that you can really make their superpower stand out. When we discussed that modern version of Arachne, you guys are doing such an amazing job describing all the details on her costume, all the parts that made the spider aspect really stand out. So now as you're working on yours, think about what details you can add to show information about your superhero. And there's directions on the screen. When you're done, if you have it around you, trace with a Sharpie and erase, clean up all the pencil marks. And then, you know, if we're doing this with a student, you could take a lot more time to add in color. In this lesson, it uses watercolor to add in the color, but you know, really whatever works for you in your classroom. So we're going to take some time to work on these and add more details.
Hi. How long have you used for this unit when you've done it with your kids, just out of curiosity?
So it varies a little bit depending on, you know, how long your classes are and so on. On the website, this is actually broken into 5 different lessons. So it's a continuation that it takes a number of days, and we actually have additional artworks in there that you talk about, and additional steps that we're not showing right now. This is the abbreviated version. I think it's worth taking your time on it though. So in the first part, we did an abbreviated version with, no, we don't. Well, actually I have before, sorry, Brandy asked if we give the students resources for the faces. And I have done it a couple different ways. So I've given them a really basic resource for the face, just showing them basic proportions and then letting them add their own details. And I've also just not done it at all. A lot of times students will add, masks and stuff like that over the faces. So it ends up not being a sticking point for them. But I suspect if you're working with slightly older kids, they might want some resources for that. Yeah, so in terms of the length of time, a good amount of time, especially in the beginning, when they're creating the backstory, there are a lot of opportunities there to really extend that and get them really involved and invested in their character. And so I would very much spend at least a full class period having them do that.
Could also collaborate with, well, I'm in high school, so you could collaborate with the ELA department.
Yeah.
To have them really write it out like a short story kind of a thing. I guess also what I'm curious, do you do your thing live and in person? Do you do it remotely? How does your program work in terms of with a partnership or with a partnering school?
So we, in terms of how Doodles works, a number of different ways. Alyssa got involved with Doodles because she was a test teacher for us. So we would develop, she was working with us to develop our art and literacy curriculum, speaking to, and her school happened to use the literacy curriculum that we were kind of connecting to. And so she worked with us to test out a lot of the projects that we did. So we work, so in terms of like what the general user is going to see and do on our website, they just go to our website and they get the curriculum and they can implement it in a way that suits their teaching style and their teaching needs. We intentionally make everything pretty flexible. So most people are just going to our website and using the curriculum. In terms of how it's developed, there's a ton more work that goes into it. We develop it through workshops, and then once we, so those are in person, and then once we get them developed through the workshops, we'll partner with classroom teachers or art teachers to have it put in like an actual classroom setting and see what their feedback is, and then we revise it. And again, that's what Alyssa was doing for us. And then we finally put out the final version on our website.
So basically, you don't provide the teachers, you provide the resources and ideas for
correct
the curriculum. Okay.
Correct. Got it. Yep.
Yeah. Like when you're using this, like you would have these videos that you could show during the lesson, but then you're teaching.
We're teaching it. So we would incorporate, expand, or, cut out or cut down, however we see fit for our general audience. Okay.
Yeah. So what we tend to do is like we over plan for you, so we'll give these lesson plans that are really, really extensive with the expectation that teachers then like slice and dice them depending on what they actually need. And like the videos are actually such a small component of these lessons. There's a lot more to it, as you can see as we're going through it. But we definitely don't think that like the tech is in any way a replacement for the teacher. It's just a support system for the teachers. And in fact, we'll talk a little bit later on about another curriculum that we put out that doesn't have a video component at all, that is specifically designed. It was designed in response to COVID is how we started it, and teachers having to flex between both in person and back to school, and every variation that you can imagine within that.
Right.
But we're still running that, and so that's a little bit different than the stuff that we're showing you right now. So there's a number of different ways that we approach it, but I think like the underlying thread is that we are creating the curriculum and we are giving you the resources, and then you are taking it and you're putting your own spin on it.
Got it. Great. Most of us do that anyway when we find something we like and we just kind of tweak it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. This would be a good lesson also for like a fashion design thing to design the costumes, because this is so hard for me. I'm not a fashion person. I occasionally get kids in my classes who are like, can we do fashion? And I'm like, not my jam. But we could try it in art club, sure. But there's a lot that goes into the design of, you know, superhero or villain costumes and all that stuff. So that would be a great thing to explore.
Yeah, it'd be a really neat connection. We just put out a curriculum last year based on fashion, but like pulling different historical resources and like looking at some of the roots of things. It was actually quite fascinating. Because we know that kids are really interested in fashion and clothing, and so like using that as a hook, but then being able to connect to all these other areas was really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. really need to practice my figure drawing.
All right, I think we're going to say maybe just a minute, and we don't have to be totally done. We are going to move on and have a discussion about it, but you are obviously welcome to complete this on your own, but maybe get it to a pretty good stopping point within the next minute or so. Stopping point enough to be able to share it and talk about it.
Hold up our superhero.
Yes. All right. So we're going to hold up our superheroes in the chat window. And once you get it, if anyone wants to chime in, what you enjoyed most about the process, and you know, if you want to talk about your superhero, if there's anything you want folks to know about your superhero.
Are we the only ones?
I think we're the only ones.
Oh my God. Mine totally sucks, but what did I enjoy? I like making up the character. I think mine, the superpower is it's a shame that it's a superpower, but these days it's empathy. And it can sense vibrations in the air for positive or negative vibrations, and she helps people in pain, emotional pain. And she was born this way. So I think what I wanted to get across is that when she's feeling someone else's pain, she kind of hunches over and doubles over. And I don't know if you could see that from the pose that she's in. And she kind of hugs herself, and then at her core will kind of glow and radiate red to show, I don't know, kind of like her inner alarm is going off and she can sense something going on. So that's kind of how far I got.
I think you did a really good job with the figure drawing. Like, I mean, I could tell a lot of that before you even started talking about that. So nice work.
Good. Thank you. That's a relief. Okay. She looks like she's, you know, has a stomach ache or something, but
no, it looks very visceral. I think you did a nice job.
Thank you.
I can talk. I was a little distracted by mine because I was doing all these other things too. But this is like the second time I've done this exercise with the group, and the interesting thing was that I know you probably can't see it very well, but I have like multiple hands going on. This one's much more developed than the last one, but I hadn't planned that. And like I'm realizing that like whenever I start conceiving of myself as a superhero, that's the consistent is these like multiple hands and like being able to do all sorts of things, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and so I just drew myself, and there's a lot of kind of scattery lines and stuff like that. But there's a lot of little kids in the background on my back that I'm carrying, and I don't know that I got so far into like really like conceptualizing the story like you did, but something along the lines of like helping out and protection of children, I think was where I was going with that.
Oh, very cool. And she looks very happy.
Yeah, she does look happy, despite all the kids on her back.
Yeah. Awesome. Did
Anyone else,
anybody else?
Yeah, even if you don't want to share, do you want to talk about the experience or like what resonated with you at all? You don't have to share your work. You can just talk.
Everybody's so quiet. Okay.
I missed the big chunk because I was attending to this other thing. So I didn't develop a character. But what I really liked about it is like, I personally myself, I'm not very big into comic strips and cartoons, but I know my students are. So this is great because this is a way for me to access it to make it more accessible for them. It's something like I feel like I shied away from before because it's not my, wheelhouse, so to speak, but now I feel like I have an entree point. So that's kind of exciting.
I'm still in incubation here. I'm not good about doing things about myself, but I did teach a comic drawing class. I was doing a unit on water, and it was water as a superhero. And we went through the properties of water and what could make a superhero with a water background, it was really fun, but it was easier because I wasn't talking about me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that kind of brings me to, we have some discussion questions actually, which touch on stuff that you guys both just mentioned. Alyssa, would you like to?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, like you kind of both are already talking about, but how will this exercise help you better understand your students? I think Sylvia started to, Riso started to talk about that, but is there anything else that we can expand upon? How would it help you understand your students? And then do you think the exercises like this are important for connecting with your students? Totally.
This is like right up the social emotional wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
All that this is the new buzzword since COVID is all the social emotional stuff. So it gets them to connect with whatever is going on inside them and try to figure out how to articulate it and then turn it into a positive in a way. Mm-hmm. Or figure out how to turn it from, if it's a negative, into a positive.
One of the things that I like about this exercise, especially like having them connect it to their real life superheroes and like also bringing up Jeffrey, I forget his last name, Burgess, and like how he explicitly connects it to his cultural background. There's like a real there's a real pathway there to be able to understand like where kids are coming from personally and culturally, as well as where they are coming from in terms of like their interests and identity and personalities. So I don't know, it feels like a really like great, like multifaceted experience, like whatever the kids want to share about themselves, like they have the space to do that. And as a teacher, if you're really talking with them, like I'm not sure you're always going to get that explicitly from the drawings themselves, but like maybe the backstory and maybe the conversations and maybe the presentations, like so with the whole package, there's really an opportunity to connect with your students. And especially like I'm envisioning this is like a beginning of the year activity, like you have this whole class that you don't know what their interests are, you don't know where they're coming from, and this would be a really good like opportunity for you to be able to dig in right there and start learning some more.
It could also kind of evolve into like a small group collaborative thing where, the 4 superheroes in the group or whatever create a 1-page comic together and solve a problem, or I don't know, talk about an issue that is weighing heavily on them, or somehow, to show interaction between each other in life as well as in a comic, like, you know, whether it's a 5 or 6 panel page or do a 2-page spread or whatever it is, to have them create a very short story within a limited amount of space.
Yeah, this had never occurred to me before you just said that for some reason, but you know, historically a lot of comics were written in response to like real events. Like Captain America was actually like fighting real world Nazis and other villains, you know, and so it would actually be kind of interesting to incorporate some of that into a collaborative project like that.
Especially with all the issues going on in the world today.
All of them.
All of them. Yes, there's so many. You could choose anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm sure that with everything going on in the world, something directly touches or affects every student we have in some capacity.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like that kind of answers our like lower question of what value do you think students would get out of doing a similar exercise? But I was also thinking too, you know, this really gives the quieter students or students who aren't quite sure how to express, you know, their feelings or things that they're grappling with, a way to illustrate that without actually having to say anything. And sometimes I feel like exercises like this really surprise you for what a student is thinking about or what they think their superpower is compared to what you might think of what that superpower is for them. So I feel like that's one of the interesting things that comes from doing exercises like this with our students. And just to kind of wrap our discussion part up, how do you think students can better connect and understand with you as the teacher as they see you doing this and modeling for them?
Well, I guess the same way they would learn, like whatever we determine our superpower is, they would learn about us in that way. They may have already picked up on our strengths as their teacher. And to have their perception align with our own could be very gratifying for them, that they were able to read us in the same way. I was also just thinking, this year we have such a ginormous influx in our school of non-English speaking students. That this could be a way for them to communicate with us visually rather than, because it's, you know, I'm fortunate enough, I can speak Spanish, and many of our incoming students, and we have so many that don't speak any English, and their faces light up when I can talk to them. So to give them an alternative means of communicating visually rather than trying to force them or that they would feel badly because they can't, this might be a great way for them to be able to communicate with us and other students as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it is interesting with like all the questions that we have. We were thinking about the teachers' relationship with the students and the students' relationship with the teachers, but that's a really good point. Is like through the sharing of this, you're also lifting up the students and like showing what they consider their best traits and celebrating those, which is kind of a cool thing to be able to show the other students as well.
And they can show what they are battling without discussing it.
Yes. Yeah, I did this, interestingly, I did this years ago, actually, like a variation of this project with one of the classes I was teaching, and a kid did one of these where he, I mean, it was actually really graphic, like to the point, like it was like, you know, kind of touching on that line, but he drew himself as a super villain who was fighting these bullies. And like in his narrative, he, you know, like ate the bullies and did like terrible things to them. And that's where it got a little bit more graphic than we're comfortable with. But the base of it was, you know, like he presented as a child that was fully confident and, you know, like confident, competent, you know, socially, but he had recently moved to the school and like was clearly having a lot of really big feelings about it. And that did enable me to start talking with him about it, and also tell his mom about it. And she started having those conversations with him as well, just making sure that he was getting the support that he did.
What grade was this?
He was in 4th grade at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. So it does. Yeah. It opens up those conversations. And like, his mom was very supportive of him, which was great. But to your earlier point, like there are things that kids are not necessarily mature enough to be able to express in words, that as adults we can see these triggers and be able to support them and step in.
Yeah.
So
It's very revealing. Very revealing.
it is. So we're gonna end on just, we have a Google Drive document. Let me get the link here.
I can put it in.
Okay, thank you. We're going to end just with some collaboration here. And the reason we're ending in the Google Drive doc is so that you guys can all take this and, you know, do what you will with the Google Doc. It has the lesson plan that we presented today. It also has links. We are offering anyone that came a free subscription to our Outside the Lines curriculum, which I talked to earlier about. And there is also a link in the Google Drive about that. And hold on, I'm just going to go to the next slide here and then I'll go back to that one. I just wanted to quickly, just in case anyone drops off, I wanted to touch base. If you do decide to use the Doodles lessons, one of the things, we're all volunteer. We're all doing this because we really believe in what we do. And so as a byproduct of that, we really like making connections and establishing relationships with educators that are using our content and learning about how you're using it, learning about what you're doing in your classroom. And so we have a Survey Monkey that you can drop in your information and also tell us about how you might be interested in connecting with us. It's short and it just helps us to establish that relationship. So we would love it if you want to use Doodles and want to connect further. This is the lesson plan that we're going to link to in the chat box. And we're going to have a quick kind of brainstorming session about that. And then this is the free subscription to Outside the Lines. So all you have to do is go to this link and then use the code NICATA, and you'll get a free subscription to that.
And this is in the link you just sent us, all of this?
It is all in the link right there.
Awesome.
So if you go to that link, it's still showing it, right? It wasn't just on that one screen. So this is our group brainstorm. And so we want you to just answer where you see moments of potential cross-content connection. And we were going to present you with a bunch of ideas, but we thought that like it would actually be better if we just all collaborate and have all of these ideas that we can walk away with. So moments of potential cross-content connection. And then also how you might connect with classroom teachers to extend this. And I actually heard somebody, I can't remember who it was, say it earlier, you know, like there are a lot of opportunities here for us to connect with the literacy teachers or, you know, like any number of different teachers. I heard a couple of comments in there. So this is the place for us to write down. Yeah. And then all the information that I had on that slide is right here. So you can get the free subscription right here. And then also fill out the survey form right here. And then underneath it, you have your lesson plan. So after this, we'll probably shut it down so you can't actually edit it, but you can always download it and then edit it on your own after we add our little group brainstorm up here. So I think what we're going to do is just kind of like leave it at that. We'll still, Alyssa and I will stay on until 8:30 for questions, but we would really love you guys to take a few minutes and kind of end on this group brainstorm so that people can walk away with like a lot of really enriching materials to use in their classroom.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Fantastic. So would I be able to copy this link and save it in case somebody emails me and asks for it if they watch the video?
Yeah, definitely. So yes, is the short answer. Absolutely. This link
Great.
is the link for the Nikata. So you're welcome to pass it along as however you wish. The only reason I'm going to stop editing is just so that it doesn't get all funky after this.
Sylvia, did you click on the link in the chat? If you put your cursor over our screen, you should see a chat option at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat, and then you will see the links that were posted on the right hand side. Do you see that? You're muted. I can't hear you. You're still muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I just did. Okay. So in order to get this link, I have to be in this video.
Nope. If you go in the chat,
Yeah, I was at the chat.
Okay.
there
do you
should be a-
see?
No,
Do
I
you-
know. I understand. I clicked it. I went to the link.
Right.
But how do I do that when I'm not with you?
Oh, save it. Save a copy. Go to file in the document in the drive. At
Okay.
the top of the screen, go to file, and you should have the option to save a copy for yourself onto your own Google Drive, or you could
Oh, I see.
download like a Word document, I think should be an option.
Okay. Okay, I see.
Got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Steph, you can feel free to pass this out. Like I can even send you the whole presentation for you to pass on to people that were participating today.
Oh, that would be great too.
That'd be excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And then if you want me to send you the presentation, or you could put a link to the presentation, and I could copy both of those into a document to send out to whoever requests it so that I have it. You're good now? Okay, good. Gotcha. I see. You're signing that you're happy.
I think that should be a link to the presentation.
Oh, God. We've all gotten really good at sign language, sort of. Oh, it's a Canva. I love Canva. I discovered that during COVID because I had to, so that was awesome. Okay. And let's see. My mouse is not cooperating. Here we go. Control copy.
I like the idea of with the littles, we often talk about what things they're expert in or at. Yeah, because superpower can be probably fairly overwhelming for some kids. And so that's a way to bring it down to a more micro level that they can talk about.
Thanks.
There's one.
Maddie. Oh, she's gone already.
There's a teacher that uses us, and I thought I included. Oh yeah, I did include a quote by her, but she uses us the same project every year, and she always talks about how much value the kids get from creating that story at the very beginning, where they start talking about it, and they bring it into, like, she mentions recess in the quote today, but she's also told me that it's like this whole thing that the kids start getting into. The other cool one that I've seen, this is not quite the adaptation that we were using here, but there was a 5th grade classroom teacher that did this, and part of their curriculum was, I believe, human rights or like civil rights heroes, and so he had the students think about what they would be as like a human rights hero or a civil rights hero, and depicts themselves as that.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was doing another unit from the Doodles curriculum where the students come up with a backstory for a constellation. and they just got so excited about it. They were going and going. And the teacher came in and she was like, wow, I think they're doing more writing in here than they are in their classroom.
Funny how
Because,
that happens.
yeah, they're intrigued by it and they're going.
They have to be somehow inspired. You got to hook them
Yep.
with something. Okay, where did you see moments of potential?
Yeah, the community building experience for teachers to begin the school year, have each teacher in the building share their superpower. So actually the idea for this presentation came from, I did like a variation of this with our board of directors at our last meeting. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. We should do a full length one. But it was the same thing where, they were sharing the things that they felt proud of. I mean, the same ways that it connects with students. It kind of can connect with people of all ages.
How fun would it be during Spirit Week to dress as your alter ego superhero?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So we can all be silly. I think even at the high school level, they forget that we still need to be silly. Actually, as grown-ups, we still need to be silly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need to remember that we can play and be silly and crazy and zany. Life is too damn serious. This is wonderful. Thank you. You know, I have been teaching this is my 20th year, and I make it a habit to try not to repeat projects because I tend to get a lot of repeat students and I don't want them to be bored and I don't want to be bored. But I forget also the really good lessons that I did that sometimes are worth repeating, you know. Yep. and a few years have gone between, so it's okay to go back and revisit some of these. And I think this is one that I'm going to revisit.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
I really enjoyed this when I did it, and I enjoyed the reminder today that it can be a really, really cool, valuable thing, especially in today's climate. I wish the group had been bigger, you guys, but I appreciate it.
That's okay. Right. Yeah, it's how these things go. It's kind of nice to have a smaller group too, I think, because then people are not as shy about chiming in with their ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I might get requests later on for the resources when people go back and watch the video. That happens a lot too. So I appreciate your time and having, you know, contacted me to reach out and do this. So it would be nice to, I'm going to look over your website and maybe we can do another one of these later on in the school year.
Yeah, we would love to. Yeah, just reach out when you're ready for it. And if anyone is watching this video later, if the resources are there, contact Steph. They're there for the taking.
In my own folder, so whoever reaches out, I can send everything to you.
Yeah, great.
So thank you.
Wonderful. You're welcome.
All right. And I will see you girls maybe next week for our next workshop. And I will definitely be in touch with you too, Tempest and Alyssa. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.